This is a 1966 Mustang GT. And this is kind of dream car material for me. It's a true A code, which means that it's a true GT. It's a 2+2. The back seat does fold down. And I'll show the interior in a second, but first we'll walk around the outside. This is a sweet car. This car was intentionally restored to be a driver. And I would classify this car as a beautiful driver. I have a friend who is a licensed appraiser. I think the car would appraise at around a 2, what they would call a 2, or a 2-, something like that, just to be real. It's not a #1 car, but if you're looking to drive a car, you don't want a #1 car. So the body is as straight as it would have been from the factory. And I say that to say it's not perfectly straight, but it's still straight. I mean, I just want to be honest. When you're spending, $35,000 on a car, that's why I do these video inspections. So the nice thing I like about this one, what was it called? Midnight Blue. Not Midnight Blue, Night Mist Blue. There we go, Night Mist Blue. So we looked up the color code. K is the color code, and that is original Night Mist Blue. And it's really hard to find these cars in this color. Most of them are red, black, that butternut yellow color, which I'm not into. But so this is kind of, for me, a really rare treat. It's actually color painted the color, the original color, and it doesn't look like the color's ever been changed. It has had a couple of repaints, and this is a brand new paint job. The one thing that did get added on this paint job is just a little bit of metallic into the paint. And I'll try and zoom in there so you can see it. It's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see. You can see the clouds. You can see what I look like. It looks like a mirror. There you go. Really beautiful driver quality paint job. There are some imperfections in it, and I can walk around and show those real quick. There's a little spot here below the emblem that just didn't quite get fully repaired. There is, I know, one spot back here, right here. There's a little spot, you can see that pretty well, that really just could use to be filled and then buffed. The car has not been wet sanded and buffed. So this is straight from the paint shop. And I mean, whenever you wet sand and buff, you're always going to bring it up a whole nother level. That's number 2. And then number 3, there is a spot here, just a little paint gun sputter. If you can kind of see that. Those are the 3 only imperfections that I know of in the paint on the car. So, which again, kind of the funny thing is, from the factory, I mean, it probably looks nicer than it did when it came from the factory in a lot of ways. So it has had the original GT grill taken out and a billet grill put in its place. Would you mind popping that hood for me? So this is the original matching numbers car. The engine was pulled. It's got low miles on the rebuild. It is the original 289 A code engine. It's had just a touch of a little cam put in it. It does have roller rockers, and when I crank up the car, you can hear the rockers clickety clickety click. Very low miles on the rebuild. It does have cold air conditioning, which is really nice. Car never overheats, and it does not have the power options. It doesn't have power brakes, and it does not have power steering, but it does have factory disc brakes, which is really rare for a 1966 vehicle. So if you wanted it fully loaded, quote unquote fully loaded, you'd want to add a power booster to the brakes, which it doesn't need, but you could. I mean, it stops perfect. And then you would add power steering, which always helps in tight spots, but once you're cruising, this car runs out great. The underneath of the hood did not get painted with the exterior paint job, and so it does have a little more of a kind of a dingy look to it compared to the outside, than the full exterior on it. The hinges work great. They're new. They hold the door or the hood open and closed. The lines are straight on it. It's got brand new chrome bumpers. It's got a brand spanking new set of Eleanor wheels. They are staggered just a little bit. They are 8s in the front and 9s in the back with staggered tire size. This is the first time we've driven it with these tires on it. So they have less than a mile from my house to stopping here so we could do this video. So right now these tires have less than a mile on them. I'm gonna take it for a drive, and I'm gonna drive it a little bit before we sell it. It needs something. It needs some air shocks to be installed in the back. These tires are so close here that on a really sharp right-hand turn, the tire's scrubbing just a hair on the inner fender well. I would put 2 brand new set of air shocks in the back and run that hose up and just beef it up. If you got it about an inch more and give it just a little bit stouter suspension in the back, you wouldn't have a scrubbing problem. I have not noticed that the tires scrub on the front. All the emblems are in excellent condition. They appear to be new. All the exterior chrome is either original and in good condition. There's a couple little spots, a little tiny ding there. All the weather stripping looks in good shape. Some of it looks older. This is the original windshield. This is the original back window. It still says FOMOCO on the glass back here. All the trim on the back looks really nice. Not perfect. Like I said, this is a really sharp driver quality vehicle. Let me show the trunk real quick, and I got the keys in my pocket. There they are. Trunk's in really clean condition. I haven't found any rust on this car. Same thing as up front. The underneath, inside the jambs, and inside the trunk and the hood were not painted, so that's from the last paint job. Still looks really clean, just not perfect. Inside the trunk, very clean, original spare tire style cover and everything. It's got an older tire in here. It's not original. It's an old, actually it is. It's an old original GT tire. Okay, cool. I have a set of 5 brand new original style wheels for this car. If you are watching this video and you're buying this car for me and you want them, I'd be happy to give them to you. This carpet is actually glued down, but you can see underneath that it's clean. I don't want to peel it up because it was done that way so that it would be, you know, kind of that show quality. The interior on the car is new. The door panels are new. Now the paint on the interior is not new, so you'll see a little bit of spotting and imperfections. Nothing really major, and maybe a good kind of a cleaning solution might take a couple of these little spots off. But on the paint on the doors, you'll notice that there's just some places where maybe when they were installing the panels, they got some cleaner on there. So like I said, it might be able to be buffed out. I didn't really try. I kind of wiped it down with some Windex and I didn't want to mess with it. But the door panels are new. It's got an upgraded pony interior. It did not come originally with a pony interior, but a standard. So when the upholstery was redone, they sprung a little extra money and did the two-tone pony interior, which is a nice upgrade. The seat on the back folds down like it's supposed to, except that it's hitting the brand new Pioneer speakers. So I didn't want to try and fold it down now, but everything in there is new. The carpet's new. The paint looks nice. You'll see that the lights work on the sides right there when the doors are opening, which are really cool little dome lights. The original fog light switch is still there. The car did come originally with fog lights, as any GT would have. So if you wanted to restore that exterior look back to full GT, you could just use that existing original light. It has the old original hardwood grained dash gauge cluster, matching of course the glove box. This is a newer original looking style radio. You can plug a AV switch in the back, or I guess not audio visual, but stereo cable in the back, and plug that into your iPod or MP3 player. These do have their little idiosyncrasies. They don't sound the greatest, but it does look nice and it does work. Sometimes the switches get a little weird on them. It's not that old. Another thing that's nice too is Mustangs Unlimited sells these center consoles. They just slide in there and kind of sit there. This one's kind of bolted in real gently. I don't think I said this before. This is an original 4-speed car. So it's an original 289, high performance 289 4-speed Mustang GT. So, and I did mention before, it does have cold air conditioning. So I want to look at the underneath of the car real quick and then we'll take it for a drive. I know this is a long video, but when you're spending this kind of money on a toy or an investment, you want to know what you're getting. Floor pans look like new, beautiful condition. Frame rails are good. It does not have frame connectors on it. It's just original style underneath. It's got did have an additional long tube headers added, and it's got a brand new Flowmaster exhaust. And when we crank it up, you can hear it. It sounds like what I think every iconic Mustang should sound like. Nice. It's got a nice muscle car rumble to it. Everything's clean under here. Original gas tank in good shape. It's got, of course, the through the lower valence exhaust. It originally would have had the trumpet tips. If I owned this car, if I was going to keep it, I'd spend the $100 and I'd have the trumpet tips put on, because I think I like them. But the gentleman who owned this car before me did not like them, and so he just put regular tips on. I'm just showing you that the underneath is rust free. This is not a Bondo bucketed car or anything either. This car was a very clean Southern States car. I think every classic automobile has Bondo in it, but this is not Bondo filled. Little 2-inch exhaust, like I said, brand new. Flowmaster. It has a Ford 9-inch rear end, which is a nice plus as well. It's also a GT option. So that would be an original Ford 9-inch rear end. When the engine was rebuilt, they painted the block and everything black, which is sometimes typical. It wouldn't have been my choice. And if I was going to try and make it a little more original, I would have an engine detail guy come back and repaint everything old Ford blue. But it's clean and it looks nice, and it doesn't show the dirt nearly as much. Well, I think we should take this thing for a drive. The lights work, turn signals work, brake lights work, cold air conditioning. So let's just drive this thing. I was just lying down on the ground, so I'm gonna knock some of this dust off, hand the camera over to my buddy, and we're gonna go for a drive. And get your seatbelt on, go ahead. And I gotta get the key out of my pocket again. Yeah, the interior on this thing is just beautiful. What did I do with the key? Come back here. I'm not crazy about the tachometer, but it is kind of nice to know what your RPMs are. So it is, at least they painted it to match the interior, and that's kind of nice. But originally, like I said, another thing, Mustang GT could have come with a rally pack. I'm going to turn the AC on. So to turn the AC on, we push the defrost button down. This is a vintage air system, so it's a new AC unit. Flip the switch on, and we have cold air conditioning. It's about 92 degrees here and humid in Georgia, so I can guarantee you we wouldn't be riding with the windows up unless the AC worked. I just realized we just fired it up for the first time. Really quick, I want to let you listen to the engine. Like I said, a nice iconic muscle car sound. Engine runs great. You can hear the roller rockers. Sounds good. Do that one more time for me and get it a little more aggressive with it. Yeah. That's what every Mustang should sound like.